going to see how well this works. And I'm going to try just making a quick little video demo. So if you've never signed in before, you do have to sign the user agreements. So I'm just going to read through these, click them, and then I'll show you what you'll usually see when you start. What you're going to do first is find the student that you want to assess. So first you're going to see if they're already there, and there is a search button. So we're going to scroll in on that, so search, and then you can usually just put in just their first or last name to get them. So for example, I'm just going to make up somebody. There's probably an Alex. We're not going to look at his private information on this video though, but we're just going to put in that and then push search. And then it's going to bring up anybody with ALEX in there. So but you'd click on the name if it was there. If it's not there, then you're going to actually go to new examinee, which I'm going to do, and then I'm going to immediately erase it after I show you how to do this. So when you click new examinee, you have to fill out most of this. So you'd put a name. So as you can see, I just put example. Usually you'd use the ID from their state. You do want to use their legal name so that other people who might do it in a few years can find them, and so use their correct birth date. You don't need to do the custom fields to the right. Also, yours will say, it may say Sopris Elementary even if you're at a different school, but if it gives you the choice, of course, you're going to put in the correct school. But don't worry about the school piece. So then I'd click on evaluation. So reasons for testing, you're just going to choose concern. So I'm just going to put general, non-specific. That's for most students, but you can look through and see if there's something else, some other reason you'd be testing on the KTEA. I think diagnosis is optional, but these are the choices. Add those here. So a lot of times it'll just be learning disability, right? So learning disability and whatever, but you can click anything that applies. And you do, I think, have to push save before it'll let you go to the test. So now I have my example student in there. So I look for that search button, research out that student, and click on the student. I click on the button that says assign new assessment. A list pops up and I look for the KTEA. I make sure to click on the form I have, Form A or Form B. Then I click assign. I choose my name under examiner, and under testing site, I choose my school. Below that, under demographics, I click on the grade, the reason for referral, which is usually a reevaluation, and then I can click on the tab that says scores. Under scores, it will list all the categories that you may have tested, and you just put in the raw score that you have recorded in your book. I've just kind of made up scores, but never do that. This is an example student. When you get down to reading comprehension, be really careful to make sure you pick the actual set you started at, and before putting in that raw. And there's a couple other down there like listening comprehension, word fluency. It is okay to leave anything blank that you didn't do. So once you have everything in here, what we want to do now is generate a report. So I believe we have to save and close it for that to happen. And then when I push save and close, I get edit or generate report. So then I'm going to go to generate report, but there's some choices with that. So once you hit generate report, it's going to come up with some choices. So over under settings, we do age and we do 10 point. So you can also, you can do the grade one for an as an extra, but for the evaluations, we always want to have that age data. And if you feel like, wow, I don't think it was as accurate, you might change your confidence level. Most of this you won't do anything with. It does give you some other things that you can click on to see what those reports look like. Okay, so usually I'm just changing stuff. Oops, sorry. Let me back out again. So I'm still in this little box. So I just only changed things over here. Now I'm going to push generate report. Once in a while, it's going to tell you there's an error. And if there's an error, it's usually something that's clicked over here that has to be unclicked. So, oops. And now it's asking me to save it. So usually I would put the student's name so they don't all come out like in front or somewhere in here. You can change however you want. I'm just going to put example KTE, so that I'm going to push save, and then let's show in folder and open that so you can see what that report looks like. So then it's made this crazy report. Here it gives you this chart. So then you have your subtest raw scores. That's the data you put in. But then if you look over here, it gives you your standard scores, and it gives you a percentile rank, and it gives you kind of whether it's in the average, below average, all that range, and age equivalency. You can scroll down. These are more of the breaking down. This will have the same thing, same exact order up here, but it does have all the little smaller subtests that you may have given. And scroll past that, then it gives you a couple different options on your chart. So again, it's going to give you the one chart with just the big main subjects, and you can see, you know, where the kids are. So are they in the average, the high, the very high? Some people draw a line around 75, 77. So that doesn't necessarily show perfectly a cutoff, but that's pretty close to where when you're in this mid, low to very low range is usually where we're looking for kids to have a goal or a learning disability in that area. And you can do the same thing. The second chart's just the same thing except with subtests. So I usually print this one off for parents and not the others. And then it just keeps going. This is like supplemental if you had some extra stuff on there. It'll show, and it kind of shows your range. This has that gray area so that you can see, like, okay, if I'm not very confident, maybe they're somewhere in this range. So they're somewhere between the low and the below average for this. And also then just once you've done that, once you've generated that report, you can exit out.